I'm alone. Like a planet is alone. Like a star is alone. In the stressed clench of busy civilization.
Today, Renee is 34. She's on a journey of self-discovery, embracing experiences she never thought she'd have. For 23 years, she's been suffering from mental illness. 8 years ago, exhausted and depressed, she tried to commit suicide.
Nothing else was in my mind except the fact that I need to die, and I need to die now, because I can't. Because even though I've looked and searched and burrowed and delved, I can't find any more strength. And I'd used up all my strength then.
Stop the world, turn out the sun. I'm so tired of it turning round. Stop the world, just let it be. Well, we've taken more than everything we need.
Renee was discovered by friends and rushed to hospital, but this wasn't the outcome she wanted.
I just thought, well, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. I needed something to change, and nothing had changed. And I was annoyed because I was still alive. I was annoyed because I was still alive and had to live this life again, and had to hear this voice, and had to see these things, and had to be anxious and have anxiety attacks, and had to be a loon. I didn't want to be a loon anymore. I wanted to be a normal person. I didn't want all this going on.
After the attempt to take her life, she was admitted to hospital, where she was treated for schizophrenia and depression. The medication didn't relieve any of her symptoms, but it did make her re-examine the past.
I was 10, and I remember walking down the hill towards the station, past the church, and it was a beautiful day. My mum decided to let us have a day off school so we could go to the seaside. I remember sitting on the station and imagining all my friends at school sitting behind those wooden desks doing their times tables and thinking, I'm sitting here waiting to go to the beach. It was a waiting room with glass in it, white wood and glass, and we were sitting in there on a wooden bench. And this woman suddenly sort of appeared, and she sat down to my right and started mumbling. And as a child, I went, oh, nutter, you know, or whatever children's language is for that sort of thing. And I remember feeling a bit uneasy. Then she walked outside. Then we heard the noise. The express train came past. And that was it. I'm still excited about going to the sea. So I walked out, turned my head to the right, and looked in the track. You could see the track for miles, and it was completely empty, so I was disappointed. And as I turned my head to the left like that to look, as you just do, look the other way, as I turned my head to the left, I looked down, and there was this woman's head on the track, sort of leaning at an angle against the, with her neck on the wooden sleeper and sort of leaning against the metal of the track, with her eyes open, looking up to the sky. I don't know what happened. I just stood there for ages, stuck to the spot, just staring and staring. And suddenly I knew it was a head, and I also knew it was a mask. And I stood there for ages, staring at it, at her, and all her hair was stuck up on end. Apparently that's shock. you know, and all the blood here and everywhere. I walked back into the waiting room to get my mum, and I put my hand out to her. She held my hand, and I took her out to the railway track, and we looked down, and she looked down. Then, because of the look on her face, then I knew it was a head, but still said it was a mask. We'd actually had a talk the week before at school about railway safety, and one of the boys in the hall, what boys are like, they was going to say, "What do you do with all the bits of dead body when you pick them off the track?" And the policeman said, "Oh, we put them in grey bags." And then I saw a policeman on the other side of the rails with a grey bag. So then I knew it was a head.
Renee's journey is a long one. She has to face hidden demons, look them in the eye and challenge them.
Sometimes I get really mad thoughts like, because I was the first one there looking at her head, because I was there for so long, this thing keeps coming up in my mind all the time. Whose life am I living, mine or hers? Oh, it's messed me up, you know.
A few months passed after the incident, and Renee continued with her everyday life at school.
I remember I was walking in the playground, and I heard someone mumbling. And I looked round, and there was nobody there. And I don't know, it seemed natural but not natural at the same time. I didn't tell anybody. I had nightmares, and I'd wake up every night, and I remember going downstairs a lot. I'd be in my bed like that. It's completely still, because I knew that there was a head under my bed, that if I put my hand out of the bed, the tongue of the head would come out and lick me. I managed to get out of my bed, and I'd be shaking all the way along the hallway, miles and miles long to my mum's room. And I'd get in there and go, "Mum." She'd take me downstairs and we'd have hot chocolate, and I remember just shaking so much that the hot chocolate would be spilling all over the place, and, you know, I was really not very well.
Love is a verb. Love is a doing word. Feel someone pray.
I realise now that that was actually my first experience or encounter with death of any sort, you know, and it was a really violent, horrific, really traumatic death. I think that's why I've got a very questioning mind now. What is life? What is it all about? Where would you have to be? What place would you get to do that? To throw yourself in front of a train? To throw yourself in front of a train?
Renee's journey towards recovery has taken her through many dark tunnels, but her greatest prop and friend has been her ability to write poetry. Tonight she's performing at a recital in Exeter.
It's my way of communicating with my subconscious. I'm sure it is. It's like I just opened the bridge. When I was in hospital, I ended up writing 27 poems while I was there. It's a little collection, I've called it Faith, Hope and Valium.
Hospital may have proved an inspiration for her poetry, but it failed to diagnose the reason behind her illness.
I'm being told that I have a mental illness, and I'm sitting there going, I'm not a person who has a mental illness. I'm Renee McAllister, all right, I don't want one, so I'm not having it. I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, I don't know all this stuff. I knew that their diagnoses were wrong, but what could I do? I'm looking for help.
In spite of intensive medication and counselling, Renee's mental well-being continued to worsen.
I was getting hallucinations of severed heads, like footballs. I'd open my cupboard in my room, and they'd all come tumbling out like footballs. I'd wake up in the morning and my whole floor was covered with them. And I'd go, Renee, this is a figment of your imagination. This is a figment of your imagination. Don't take it up. But when you're looking at something like that, gets you down a bit, you know. Well, not gets you down, it tires you out. And I started getting really unwell. I didn't wash for weeks on end. I didn't go out of the house. I was getting my voice all the time, you know. It's a difficult thing to come to terms with, the fact that I have a voice inside me that calls me a piece of shit and tells me I deserve to die, and tells me how to die, and tells me to get knives and harm myself, and tells me to take tablets and things like that, quite specifically. And in the end, you're laying on your bed like that, just thinking, I can't move even my little finger, because even that amount of stress will send me off into an anxiety attack. But then it got too much for me one day, May the 20th, 1992, I remember it well. And I don't know what happened, I woke up in the morning. No, I just thought, that's it, that's enough now. So I got the tablets and I lined them up. I didn't think about my mum, my sisters, my friends, nobody. I didn't think about anybody. You're so focused, you just think, this is the best thing I can possibly do. I just sat there and took them all. I just sat there across my arms and across my arms and looked at the telly and went, I'm waiting to die.
Eight years passed after Renee's suicide attempt, and all this time she believed she was a schizophrenic. Hallucinations and voices continued to haunt her. Only now is she beginning to discover why these things have been happening to her.
I've had this for 23 years now, so I understand it. I've watched it. I've listened to it. I've stood by the cave and I've watched the bear, and I've seen it come out. I've watched its behaviour. You know, I know what it does now. If it blinks one eye, I know what's going to happen. You know, so I know now. It's like a switch in my brain. I will know if I'm up for an episode. So if that happens, I eat well, I sleep well, I do meditation.
6 months ago, she met a doctor who was to change her life forever.
When I got the referral, I did notice that there was mention made of an incident when Renee had witnessed a woman committing suicide when she was a child. And that immediately alerted me to the possibility that I could be dealing with PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a syndrome with a number of characteristics. Typically, have nightmares where they relive the event. They may have flashbacks, perhaps going about their daily business, and all of a sudden it's as if the event is happening to them all over again. I can remember the moment when I said to Rennie that I thought she had PTSD, her reaction really took me by surprise.
Every single cell in my body shed a little tear of everything. That a tear of anger, a tear of relief, a tear of joy, a tear of recognition. 23 years.
She'd come to regard herself as somebody who was insane, who had schizophrenia, who was, a chronic psychiatric patient, and had a very damaged sense of identity.
And it's like he's given me my life back. I feel like I've been given it's like a miracle. It's like a miracle. I've been living my life within the confines and the limitations of wrong diagnoses.
I'm just beginning to see. Now I'm on my way.
Yeah, come back the picture.
It doesn't matter to me. Chasing the clouds away.
Martin Lunn explains why Renee was misdiagnosed for so long.
One of the things that Rennie has been suffering from is hearing voices. About 15 years ago, that was considered to be synonymous with a diagnosis of schizophrenia. At that time, people were not nearly as aware of PTSD as we are now.
How have you been this week?
Looking after myself, been taking vitamins, vitamin B complex, multivitamins. So that's been all right.
Good.
But more anxiety than anything.
Yes,
Been getting really palpitations I had last week.
So was there any reason for that you can
I think I'm really nervous about all these gigs I've got coming up.
Yes.
It's putting anxiety in me.
You've got a few coming up, haven't you? Okay, I'm just going to take your pulses.
It's been a real joy to work with Rennie because she is so keen on adopting a self-help approach, and she has taken a tremendous amount of initiative, going out and purchasing a self-help manual for PTSD, and she's working through the exercises and gaining great benefit from it.
I see Martin about once a month and we talk about things. I've bought myself a book. I'm coming up to now doing very, very deep muscle relaxation.
Okay, breath in and out.
I can get better, right? I thought for years and years I would never get better. I would never, ever get better, and I would be unwell for the rest of my life. Don't feel that at all.
Okay, we're going to leave those in for about half an hour now, Renee.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Part of getting better is going out there and living life. Renee is performing at the Phoenix Arts Centre, and Martin Lunn is there to support her.
So then you come up one at a time to read, and I think we agreed, didn't we? It's a couple of poems, about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything about yourself, but just say your name clearly.
Okay.
I'll introduce you.
I've got this belief that we have within us an innate talent, whether that be as some of us are natural healers, some of us are natural teachers, some of us are natural physical people. We all have got a natural thing that is us, and it turns out that my natural thing is being a poet. So it makes me laugh sometimes.
Make sure that they hang around.
But yeah, I'm a poet, right? That's what I do. That's what I am. I'm alone on the cold beach, and it's only the raw bellies of gulls skimming the waves and the black, hard beaks of the crows that warm me. My main inspiration for my poems is just small moments, mainly small things. I watch a spider weaving a web and it opens an entire universe to me. I get feelings and emotions, but that part of me, that deep down soul thing, what experiences love, is a raw place for me, because that deep down place is also the place that carries the memories when that thing happened. So they both live in the same place.
No one may be wishing on a world.
I'm amazed by everything. I can live, so everything amazes me. I look around and I see things with different eyes now. It's as if I was, as if I couldn't see, and now I can.
No matter how hopeless or foolish it may seem, I'll keep on wishing.
The support and help I've got through my life and through all this has been quite amazing. My friends have been fantastic. A friend of mine, Althea, runs a night where people can get up and perform. So I thought, I'll read a couple of my poems, and I was standing there with my little bit of paper like that, all nervously shaking, and I read them, and people seemed to really like them. So then I went in for this competition, this poetry slam thing, and I won the competition. So I thought, oh, excellent. So I just carried on, and then poetry kept coming out. I've done about 7 or 8 gigs now. Gigs. I can't even believe I'm calling them gigs.
I've got a short list of 20.
And how many? Plus one.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing the hot sex Latin one.
Most definitely.
I'm definitely going to do the spider.
There's this whole self-discovery thing. I need to know who I am so I can heal from a PTSD, and part of knowing who I am is knowing that I have like a poetic soul. I have a poetic soul, and it's the way I communicate with myself.
But I know it. I keep going over and over in my head trying to think of remembering the words. But I just know it, so I should just trust that I know it. Just trust it. God, I'm more nervous here than I've been in loads of places. I need to go to the toilet.
Okay. It's brilliant to see so many of you here tonight for another Uncut Poetry session. Tonight, anybody who hasn't been before, I just run through...
I had a child's brain, and a child's brain can't do it, so it does whatever it can. Like physically, my brain wasn't grown. Emotionally, I wasn't grown. Mentally, not grown. I was a small thing. I was a small, tiny thing. I wasn't a big thing that I am now. I wasn't ready for that sort of experience. I'm a bit angry sometimes because knowing there are children standing on the platform and you just chuck yourself in front of the train. I'm trying to acknowledge the anger that I feel. I also feel empathy with her. She was experiencing a form of mental illness at the time. I know what that's like.
Renee McAllister.
Right, yes. I'm just going to... Hello. I'm going to do a couple, and the first one is called Never. And it's about... I had to split up with somebody 3 years ago and I didn't want to... right, never. Never was a soul more welcome into mine. Never was a mind so loved, so curled with the curl of mine.
The future for me is just... My life has turned into the most plumptious, gorgeous, juicy piece of fruit you can ever imagine, and I'm just looking forward to eating it.
I still feel the chill of the draft from the swing of the door.
I'm very optimistic about the future for Rennie, but she still has quite a long way to go. There's no guarantees.
I am alone, like a planet is alone, like a star is alone.
As much as I can now, I know for a fact that I will never, ever try and take my own life again. Since I've done it myself and speaking to people about it and the effect it had on them. Since realising that even at that point in my life, I was desperate to die. I am so glad now that I didn't die. I'm so, I can't explain how glad I am. The experiences that I've had over the last 8 years. You never know what's around the corner.